let's get into our main topic.
Truth, lies, shenanigans.
All right, Robbie, you got some craziness happening right now in Canada. What's up?
Whew.
Yes, we do. We do. So I'm going to unpack quite a bit for you. Try to keep up. So the Freedom Convoy is occupying Canada's nation capital of Ottawa this weekend in the midst of a province-wide lockdown. Ontario is scheduled to start its reopening plan on Tuesday, February 1st. So there's nothing open in Ottawa. There's no indoor dining, but they do have mask requirements, and most businesses are closed because things are slow. The movement initially called for all truckers to drive to Ottawa to protest the vaccine requirements introduced January 15th by Canada on cross-border truckers, the same mandates that are in place for US truckers. So as the convoy picked up steam, it has become a vehicle for people to express their anger at the Canadian federal government and pandemic restrictions that they feel curb their freedoms, such as mandates, vaccine passports, lockdown measures, who call for more restrictions, or they're calling for no more restrictions, I should say. The organizers' intention this weekend is to take their fight to the doorstep of the federal government and demand to end all mandates against Canadians and respect the rights of those who wish to remain unvaccinated. There's also a video of protesters blocking the press from accessing areas and press being berated and verbally assaulted. You're not going to get your video, you're liars. So, not really upholding the freedom of the press. Now, hundreds of trucks and thousands of people are blocking the streets of central Ottawa, and there have been smaller support protests that sprung up across Canada. It should be noted that 85% of Canadian truckers are fully vaccinated and in compliance. So the main thing that protesters say they're against are any type of mandated mask, vaccines, gathering restrictions. They want all the restrictions to end from coast to coast. So that's why they're in Ottawa. Some have created signs asking Trudeau to resign. Through the montage, you've seen swastikas on Canadian flags, Confederate flags, signs that say "Make Canada Great Again." What? There's also a manifesto that's circulating to the Senate, the Governor General, and Canada Unity to take control and get rid of these restrictions. And I'm not really sure how that would work or how the feds would enact this request because health policy in Canada is determined at the provincial level, not at the federal level. So to date, the protest has been peaceful, according to Ottawa police. They have had to defuse tense situations and blocked roads, and they reported it was like a party-like atmosphere with the protesters that lasted late into the night. But today, tensions are getting a little bit tighter. There was a video of at least one protester jumping on the tomb of the unknown soldier. The Terry Fox statue, for those who don't know, is a young man who in 1980 ran across the country for cancer research after losing his right leg to cancer. He was someone who believed in science, which is something that a lot of the protesters take issue with, given their stance on the efficacy of masks and vaccine mandates. Neil, could you please pull up that tweet for me? So staff and volunteers of the Shepherds of Good Hope were harassed and bullied by protesters. Just read the tweet for you. Hi there, thank you for letting us know about this. Earlier today, our staff and volunteers experienced harassment from convoy protesters seeking meals from our soup kitchen. The individuals were given meals to defuse the conflict. Management was then informed of the issue, and no further meals were given to protesters. Our soup kitchen is committed to providing meals to people experiencing and at risk of homelessness in Ottawa. This weekend's events have caused significant strain on our operation at an already difficult time. Now, the Ottawa homeless shelter that was harassed by these people has been receiving overwhelming support and donations from the rest of Canada since this came out. So kudos to those Canadians. Now, the reason that the protesters felt entitled to go into the soup kitchen is that they can't get takeout at a restaurant because they have to wear a mask and they don't believe in mask mandates and won't comply. So to me, that sounds like a natural consequence to your actions rather than a homeless shelter situation. So this begs the question of where the $8 million from the GoFundMe campaign to support these people went to, because this was supposed to be used for food, gas, and shelter. Also, The Rideau Centre Mall is one of the main staples in Ottawa, and it's a large place where people could go to warm up. Right? And when the Rideau Centre Mall was flooded by protesters who refused to mask up, despite mask requirements in the province of Ontario, management closed the mall early, and they closed it again today in order to protect their guests, tenants, and employees. Another point that I want to bring up is that when you look at the images in the media streams, you will see a remarkable lack of diversity, despite the fact that 1 in 5 Canadian truckers is South Asian. Online reports indicate that a lot of these South Asian truckers do not feel represented by the Freedom Convoy, nor were they invited to the party. And lastly, I want to talk about the organizers' link to the GoFundMe campaign or the account. Quick side note is that it has been endorsed by the likes of Donald Trump Jr., Elon Musk, Don Cherry, Canadian former hockey analyst, and the main organizer is Tamara Lich. I love that name because if you know your lore, a lich is something that drains life. She's a member of the Maverick Party in Alberta, and which is our Texas, and she's a backer of Wexit Canada, so a separatist movement. She has a history of in organizing unity against government policies. So this is a rabble rouser. The other main organizer is Patrick King, and this individual has a documented history of online racism. In one of his videos, he shares that there's an end game. It's called depopulation of the Caucasian race or the Anglo-Saxon. And that's what the goal is, to depopulate the Anglo-Saxon race because they are the ones with the strongest bloodlines.
Wow. Wow.
So it's interesting to note that also, before riding out to Ottawa, organized refused to speak with local media. They threatened reporters with trespassing charges on land they didn't own. And all of that after calling the reporters dirty communists, telling them to go find a new country, and verbal confrontations. So many Canadians and Ottawans are feeling angry that a group of protesters has shut down and blockaded roads in Ottawa for an undetermined period of time in order so that in the name of freedom, they're happy to curtail ours. I really can't believe this is happening in Canada. So what say you, my friends? And is this another example of a noble idea being co-opted by someone with ulterior motives?
Let's start with Ellen.
Oh man. First of all, I'm so surprised by how these are like the most American Canadians I've ever seen. I didn't know that. I thought that our exceptionalism, this is I guess it's an example of exceptionalism that I thought it was unique to Americans, so that's kind of meta. But yeah, this is a mess. I don't think, I mean, I feel like probably similar to January 6th, a lot of the people who came here don't even necessarily know what they're doing. They just kind of know that they're angry for some reason. They feel like they've been infringed upon because they can't go to, like, they can't go pick up burgers without masks. But yeah, I don't think I don't think these people, I don't think that they know what they're doing. I think that, they might be, I think that they're convinced that they are doing this individually, but I think that they're, like how Americans act, since we have a bipartisan system, you kind of just do what the larger group thinks that you should be doing, which apparently is driving all these freaking trucks to Ottawa and, doing causing the kind of disruption that they caused to DC, our city, last year.
Yeah. All right, Lizzie.
Mhm.
Where is South Park when you need it? Blame Canada, blame Canada.
I was
I
waiting for
think
the song.
I think the late Robin did it best. The late Robin Williams did it best at the Oscars. But I think one of the things that, again, we don't talk about, another iteration, another symptom of the pandemic, is the rise of human selfishness.
Mm.
The rise
Mhm.
of human selfishness. The idea that my issue my reason for not wanting to wear a mask, my reason for not wanting to get a vaccination, my belief that I deserve to be in your private establishment trumps everyone else's need to be safe. And it pisses me off and it makes me sad. No one thinks about the common good, the greater good. All of these mandates are in place to attempt to keep everyone safe, both the unvaccinated and the vaccinated. In uncertain times, we're still learning things about this virus that has mutated at least 3 times right now.
Oh,
So it's just
it's way
it's
more than that.
selfish. I mean, 3 times in terms of it causing like a
Major,
shift
major,
in how we react to
major
things.
variation.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's it's sad. It's really sad. It pisses me off. Again, we think a lot of times, a lot of Americans, we think y'all are different up in Canada.
Mm.
Well,
I think
maybe
that.
not.
Yeah.
Maybe
Mhm.
not.
I thought
Speaking
so.
on that, there's another variant that's actually apparently more contagious than Omicron now. So
What's the
Don't
name?
tell
Do you
me
have a
that.
name?
it's Omicron B22 or something like that. It's
Oh,
like a.
boring. Come on.
I know, I
Come on.
know. I
Mm.
thought they were gonna come up with a different name, but it's like
Your own name.
but it's like
They
apparently
need the
way
hurricane
more
naming staff on this.
infectious than the original Omicron. They say it's gonna
Jeez.
overtake the original Omicron soon. But anyway, so my quick thoughts. I'm curious, Rob. How often do you see like protests like this?
Oh, this is a first, kind of like January 6th was a first for you, and Ellen and Liz hit it. This is a this is an export of American values. We haven't seen stuff like
Yeah.
this since the Clown Prince 45. We've really never seen anything like that, and he has helped infect Canadian culture in that respect because we are exposed to the social media and the Fox News pundits, the same bad ideas that poison your culture. Unfortunately, we're really exposed to now.
So I
Mhm.
mean, I do want to say the January 6th was new to us because it was an actual attack on
Mhm.
the government building. But yeah, we see these protests all the time with these ridiculous people coming in. Because I don't know, I guess
Yeah.
because I look at DC and then living here, I see it like constantly. I
Yeah.
guess it's like living in Ottawa, but we see these protests
Yeah.
constantly on the news. I mean, it's like the
Yeah.
pro-lifers were just here rallying recently, and then we've had, of
Yeah.
course, these January 6th people were here, and then it's just nonstop for us.
Yeah.
So when we see it in
I'm
Canada, we're like, what the fuck? This is
But
not.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I had a front seat to the Parliament lawn, I might see things differently. But I know that if you're going to manifest, do it at the seat of power. So that's the place to do it. So maybe a local would
Yeah.
go. Now we see this shit all the time too. But
Yeah,
that's
because we've even
Yeah.
had truckers. We've
That's
had
how I feel.
truckers do this before, where they've actually come to DC and blockaded the entire beltway around DC, and they just stopped in the middle and that was their plan. I mean, so I'm just saying we see this. Unfortunately, we see it all the time. But these particular people, I mean, it's a shame that it's grown into a global problem. And it's grown out of Trump, and that's why even Trump tweeted today or something, or not tweeted. He can't tweet anymore, but Trump gave them a shout out today
yep.
about what they were
But
doing.
But make no mistake, protesting, especially as it relates to the United States, is a
It's
part of our
positive.
democracy.
It's a
It's
positive thing to do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
part of the democratic process. So I don't want people to think that
Yep.
we are anti-protest.
I'm all for
January
it
6th
Yeah.
was completely different.
completely.
It was something completely different. Something that I'm still not over. I mean, I can see the Capitol from my living room window. I'm still
Yeah.
not over it. I'm
It was a
offended.
planned,
I'm still
orchestrated attack.
Yeah.
But this is kind of, Rob, in the same vein, kind of, if you will,
Mhm.
of January 6th. It's not necessarily a protest to let me get my point across.
Mm-hmm.
It's violent in nature, at least the
It's mean
conversation
spirited.
around it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yep.
mean spirited. It is racist.
Mhm.
It's misogynist. It's
Mhm.
all of these things
Mm-hmm.
based on
Mhm.
what I want, my right to be
Selfish.
Yeah.
opposed to the government. And it's
Yeah.
that's not necessarily democracy in my mind. There's kind of a
Yeah.
difference in my mind.
Yeah.
But no, we're seeing this more and more. We're seeing this more and more, and it's scary. It's
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. Let's
It's
get to
like I was saying, it has been peaceful to date, but online there were definitely the extremists who were calling for we're gonna take the
yeah, we
Senate,
see
we're
that all
gonna
the time.
remove these people. Yeah,
We've heard it
so
all the time.
And
That's
that,
why January 6th was so different because we get those all the time. Those threats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but no one ever actually happened. It never actually happened. And that was
but
the
also
first time they actually
you hit
did what they
another
said they
point.
were going to do.
Hit on another
yeah.
point, Rob. Online. This is the result of social media, the
It
good
is
and
social
the
media.
bad.
Hmm.
And this is
Yep.
a
Yep.
part of the bad because January 6th would not have been as potent as it was if not for social media. All of those people
100.
got together because of social media sites. Hell, subreddit, social media.
Subreddit.
100%. There are definitely subreddits,
Liz learned a
like
new
crazy
word.
subreddits for that. In your
You know,
vocab.
it's scary. It's scary. It's
All right,
scary
let's
to
get to
think
these
about.
comments
Yeah.
online because we're over time. Mike Winter says, not to tread on me and Confederate flag side, racism doesn't know political borders, as we all get to
Yeah.
see. Jose says, this became a white supremacy gathering. Big people, real awesome. Picking on homeless people, real tough. Jacqueline Robinson, I'm so sorry this is happening to your country. Unfortunately, white supremacy, fascism, ignorance, and assholery have become global issues. Everything IQ 45 touches dies. You have my sympathy. Latoya says, SMFH sounds about right. They want to be served, but they don't want to allow the rules. They want to follow the, I'm sorry, they don't want to follow the rules that would get them the service they want. SMH just like a reaction to COVID mitigation policies in general. And she agreed with you as well, Ellen. Jeanette Brown says narcissism is contagious. Mike Winter, as Americans, we really need to follow more global news. I happen to know a bunch of Canadians several of whom lean towards Canada's version of Fox disinformation. So I know about this in Canada. But also Eastern Europe, Albany, Hungary, Poland, Greece. And then Jose mentions that although the new variant is more contagious, they say it's less deadly, according to what she noted.
Yeah, but I don't want to, lose my limbs or, have be stroking out.
Yeah, I mean it's still bad. I'm gonna be
The
honest.
worst
I mean,
thing, the worst thing about COVID is not death. This is what I keep trying to remind people.
long
Like,
term.
there's a lot that goes in COVID if you survive. There's a lot of bad
Yep.
that goes into
Yep.
COVID.
All right, are we calling this truth, lies, or shenanigans?
A lot, man. Truth,
Almost all of
lies,
them.
like a lot, brother.
Got
A
lies and
lot.
shenanigans. I'm going with
Yeah.
lies and shenanigans. Yeah,
Only because I have two hands, Bob. I only have two hands.
I mean, just because they want to get vaccines.
And when I
I
say
mean, come on.
bullshit, I mean they're bullshitters. They're bullshitters.
Shenanigans, nonsense.
Yeah, I need to know it's all bullshit. That's
All right, good topic, Robbie. All right, let's get to our game show.